Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back. It is Monday, May 14th. Just checking in yet again. We're here to survive the summer one more time. So this is part two. Last week we did part one. Um, so just big things, just kind of remind you guys if you're going out places, make sure that you have a plan. Make sure that you are ready to go wherever it is that you're ready to go. Be adventurous. Go outside. Go outdoors. Do things outside. Don't be afraid to do things outside. A lot of times people get overly concerned with what they're eating when they're out, what they're doing when they're out. If you're outside for 4, 5, 6 hours at a time, walking around, going through a park, going through um, zoo, going through any of those places, and you're wandering around for a while, don't worry too much about it. I mean, that's the easiest way to get through it. The other big thing, like I said, is focus on bringing food, focus on having a plan for when you are wherever you are. So that's our big takeaways from last week with what we want to survive. This week, some of you guys may have noticed I put on the web page that we're doing the sauna challenge again this year. Big thing we want to do there is it does help your body get acclimated to heat. It does help your body kind of relieve some of the gunk that builds up in your system. If you are going a lot of places, if you're having a lot of like barbecues, end of year parties, things like that, it'll help to get the salt out of your system. So any excess salt that you're consuming, sweat that right out. Not to say that we want to get rid of our salt, but it does give you something to kind of drain out of your system. It does help you kind of focus on detoxing the body a little bit. It also helps with clearing out the blood itself and actually ends up increasing what's considered um, to be the positive benefits. So it'll actually end up increasing oxygen intake into the blood. It increases your body's ability to tolerate heat as well. So any of us that are living anywhere that has a summer, which is most of us and everywhere, will notice that if you start spending a lot of time in this sauna, you'll start noticing that your heat acclimation goes up. So what would have been considered a hot day before will no longer be as hot. Most saunas are going to be somewhere around 170 to 200 degrees, really depending on where you're going. Most saunas in the United States are going to be somewhere around 170 degrees. That's what we consider safe. If you are traveling abroad or if you're watching this, there are some saunas that get up to 200, and from what I've heard, up to 220 degrees, which is definitely hot. But what you will notice from being in the sauna is your body will acclimate to the heat faster. You'll get more efficient at cooling yourself. You may sweat a little bit more outside, but you will cool yourself better. The plus side of that is when you think about the things that your kids want to do, you want to encourage them to get outside, you want to encourage them to be active. But if you're stuck in the house because it's just too hot for you to go outside or you tend to overheat quickly, this is something that'll allow you to get outside, do more things, be more adventurous in the summer so that you're not stuck inside. The biggest problem that we have here in the south in the summer is the temperatures get up to 110 degrees, if not higher, in the course of a day. Well, triple digit temperatures do not make for a positive experience if we go outside. So what we want to do is work on building up that heat tolerance because if you're used to spending 15, 20, 30 minutes in a box that's 200 degrees, you can handle 100 degrees fairly easily, especially if you add water and a breeze and anything else. It'll feel kind of comfortable. The biggest thing that our body doesn't have the exposure to anymore is heat and cold. And we've talked about that a lot in the past. But getting in the sauna will actually give you more exposure to heat. It'll teach your body how to cool itself more efficiently. It'll also get you used to drinking more water throughout the day because while you're in there, you will start to notice that you are sweating more. You will start to think more about the amount of water that you should be consuming, and that'll help a ton. So, getting in the sauna will help massively as far as surviving the summer because it'll help you get outside more. And the biggest thing that people lose in the summer is that non exercise energy expenditure. So, when you think about how we break down calories, we have our resting metabolism, we have our exercise metabolism. Those two are usually the big things that we think of as, you're either resting or you're working out. But there's a gray area. There's your non-exercise energy expenditure. What that means is energy that is being burnt for things that are not working out. So think about it from a structure standpoint. Just because you're outside playing frisbee with the kids doesn't mean that you're not exercising, but you don't think about it as exercise. You don't think about that as part of a workout. It's usually lower intensity. If you have the ability to do that, if you have the ability to go outside while your kids are riding their bike, maybe you're riding with them, You know, you're not overheating, they're not overheating, everyone's getting outside, they're getting that heat exposure. You're also going to stimulate what's called heat shock proteins. So those will help with longevity, those will help with detoxing the body, those will help with hormone production, but those don't get stimulated unless you get hot and unless you get uncomfortable. So without kind of going that far into it, just think about it from the base level. If you spend more time in the sauna, you will actually be able to tolerate the heat more outside. The more that you can tolerate the heat outside, the more vitamin D you can get. The more vitamin D you get, the better your metabolism runs. The better that your metabolism runs, the better you're going to feel. The easier it's going to be for you to keep getting outside, keep being active, especially with summer coming. You're going to have, bathing suit season, everything else. We want you to be outside as comfortable as possible and feeling as good in your body as you can feel. So that's tip number 2 for surviving. Thank you guys for watching. Get in the sauna, keep your water up, have a plan for going outside, and I'll see you guys next week. Or not.